What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jorgito, Papa Tarmac, right here in the flesh, live and in living color. It is Tormenting Tarmac, the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Installment 154. I've done this show 154 times. Ask me if I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Do I love it? Yes, I do. Love doing this every single time. It is, it brings me joy. It brings me hope in humanity that there are good people on the planet still. Like my guest who's on the podcast this evening, who is now making her fourth appearance. And I'm very, very grateful that she continues to do them. And that, of course, being Miss Sunni Combs, calling in live from the Dale of the Scott with the wonderful view behind her. How are you, my old friend?
Doing well. I was going to first make a little joke and be like, "Oh, guess who's back? Back again. Oh, it's me." So,
I mean, you could go
hi.
ahead and you could do, hey, guess who's back again? It's Sunny bitches back again. You could totally do that. Oh, because also it's also not a double entendre, but it's a play on words. It's sunny, bitches, as in it's sunny, and then also it could be a smidge of sun as the sun sets right here in the Valley of the Sun, um, in one of the greatest states in this entire union. I love Arizona. I love Arizona. Even let me tell you something, Sunny. It's would you like to know the meteorology report for this evening?
Yeah, I'm down for it.
All right, wonderful. You're the only one that probably wants to know. It was marking 114 degrees Fahrenheit on my way in onto the west end of Phoenix. It was a scorcher. It was a scorcher. Let me tell you. As soon as I got home, I
Oh
went
my
ahead.
goodness.
I put on some shorts. I was like, I'm not wearing dress pants for a podcast that I'm only on camera and you can't see my bottoms. It's like when you're a news anchor and you're probably wearing basketball shorts, but on top you're wearing a blazer and a shirt and a nice tie. Like that's kind of like me, but not really. But
Yeah, it's like a business in front, party in the back kind of situation.
it's sort of, yeah, that's exactly right. I'm glad that you're going along with the flow of it. I appreciate it. My old friend, it's been too long. Um, you have been up to, as always, some amazing shenanigans. Um, it's hilarious. I called you out on this before we went ahead and started recording. I'm going to call you out on it now because I think it's hilarious. Sunny decided to go ahead and wear her Ray-Ban Metas today as the camera for herself. It is hysterical. Let's give them a free plug. Not that Mark Zuckerberg needs a free plug, but let's do it anyway and whatnot. Can you give us a review of your Ray-Ban Metas? You've now owned them for what, about almost 8 or 9 months since you did the Ray-Ban Meta thing for what did you do it for?
So I did that as part of Scottsdale Car Week because they
That's what it
had a
was.
pop-up out here, but they actually didn't give me these. So Josh got me these for my birthday. I've had them
Okay.
since May.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Hi,
they
Josh.
they just sent me money. They didn't send me the glasses, and I was like, oh, okay. But you know, who doesn't
Money,
want some of that?
Ray-Bans. Come on. What are we doing here? Fuck are we doing
Though
here?
I've used these for, as you would know, quite a few things between filming when I was driving on Road Atlanta, and that footage
Mm-hmm.
came out phenomenal. I used the AI features. I've tried the live translation. It actually works quite well. And I wear them quite often, taking phone calls or doing things like this. It's so much easier because, well, for anyone who is seeing me, if you've watched episodes where I've been in them before, I usually have like giant Apple headphones on, and I love those things, but this is a little bit cuter. So,
Okay. Hold on for 1 second. I'm cracking myself up. So the other night I was watching Starsky and Hutch, the movie with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. And speaking of the ginormous headphones and whatnot, at the beginning of the movie, Starsky is running down the beach and he's wearing his big old headphones with an antenna that's probably the size of like the Empire State Building and whatnot. So for anybody who wears the big air with the what are they? Because they're not AirPods.
AirPod Maxes.
They're AirPod Maxes. Thank you. So if you ever use those, you realize you straight up look like an airplane pilot that's wearing earmuffs, essentially. And so Sunny has been on the podcast before rocking the earmuffs. It's very intense. It's very hilarious. It makes me laugh, not because I'm making fun of her, but more so because it reminds me of Starsky and Hutch. And so there's your Starsky and Hutch reference for the day. Did you know? Well, I mean, most automotive enthusiasts will know this, but Starsky and Hutch has a very cool car in that show slash movie. I don't know if you knew that. You might, but
I'm not that young, Jorge.
oh, okay. Well, I wasn't too sure if you watched the movie because the movie came out in 2004.
Yeah, yeah, that's typically the taste of time period of my movies and TV shows, if not
Okay.
older than that. So,
All right. Fair enough. Okay. So I was just saying they've got I think it's like a mid to early 70s Ford Gran Torino. Right. So the red with the white stripes, and it's very cool. Although, there's another movie that also features a Gran Torino. And you're welcome, everybody, for your probably 300th Fast and Furious reference. But in Fast and Furious, Phoenix has a green Ford Torino. So there you go. For in case anybody wanted to know, you're welcome. What do you want to talk about, dog? There's so many things. There's so many places that we can go. Oh, by the way, for anybody who's looking, Sunny's got her Ray-Bans, but I am wearing my Sheffield Diver this evening. Thank you, Jay. Shout out to Sheffield All Sport Watches right there. That's right. Plug sponsoring the podcast. Appreciate you. Nothing but love, Sheffield. Buy them. Go to SheffieldWatches.com. Let's go. Follow them on Instagram. Sheffield All Sport Watches. 2 underscores. Get in there. You want to do any plugs? We need to do some plugs real quick before we go ahead and continue on.
I was sent these before, actually very recently,
Mm,
and I hadn't checked them out yet because I've been using the same wallet for, I don't know, four and a half, a long time. But I actually got kind of the set with the key holder and the wallet from Ridge here. They released
okay.
some new girly colors, and I went with the closest thing that I could find to Gulf Blue. They do actually have a Gulf Blue and orange wallet set too, but they were asking me to get the girly colors, and that was the best I could do. But they've actually been really nice. I've been keeping the, business credit cards and things that are going to be separate from my wallet and there. And it's
Mhm.
just nice and easy, simple. It fits into one of the little phone pockets that's in my purse versus taking up a bunch of room. For the gentleman, it's definitely like a little jean front pocket kind of deal almost. And same with the key holder. Very convenient, very high quality. So I would say maybe check those out. You probably see ads for them all the time, but as somebody who now owns them, maybe just go peek.
Free plug right here on TT. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to lie to you. I did an eye roll really quickly and not on purpose, but I want to go ahead and be very clear. Dudes can rock Gulf Blue too. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Come on, like holla at for the fellas out there, and especially all these Porsche owners and stuff like that that we know that we're friends with. They all got what's wrong with a little pink Porsche? Nothing,
Oh
nothing.
yeah, no.
So I felt that was a little sexist. I'm just saying.
No, no, it's
Just,
not their Gulf Blue. It's like a more
just
metallic
kidding.
one. I have it in my bag, but they put out like a pink, purple, and blue, and they were like, "Oh, this is more for like the
Sure.
feminine clients." But I mean, that's also everybody. But on that note, talking about colors
Hmm.
and color association, I have to say something crazy, and I hate to call out my father. So he was looking on Copart the other day, and he was like, "Oh, I wonder if I can find a GT4 RS on Copart." Of course, we're 5 minutes into this, and I already mentioned the car, but nonetheless, he found one. It was totaled, completely smashed to utter pieces, and it was Ruby Star. And he goes, "Oh, that color's hideous." And I was like, "What is it?" He goes, "It's like a pink." And I was like, "If you're hitting on Ruby Star right now, Kevin, I'm hanging up on you."
Using your father's first name is crazy, but warranted in this conversation.
Yeah,
Warranted in this respective conversation. Yeah. Listen, I mean, how many times have I gone on record? I've said this to Matt Farah. I think I said it to him when he was on the podcast last year, but Frozen Berry Metallic,
beautiful.
just a stunner of a color. Stunner of a color. let me tell you something right now. Richard Rawlings, who I've been a fan of for a very long time. I watched Fast and Loud. I like Gas Monkey Garage. He was on Spike Ferriston's on Spike's Car Radio not too long ago, and he said his Matt is first of all he called him Fat Mara. Okay, Richard Rawlings, he go fuck himself. The other thing was that he went ahead and I said it. Yeah, you can clip that right there. The other thing was, is he still driving around in that little pink tampon? Again, there's whatever direction he's looking at there in the Dallas metropolitan area. If you're looking southbound, eastbound, northwest, I don't care. Whatever direction, that is the direction that he can go F himself off to. So,
Agreed.
um, yeah, frozen berry metallic, any of the great colors, Sonny, what is your favorite Porsche color? Have we had that conversation before? I don't think we have. What is your,
We
it doesn't have to be a
may.
PTS.
So I'm such an old man for this because I know I've mentioned before I like a classic gentleman spec, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't see it behind me right now because it's on the wall to my left, but a friend of mine had made me a custom sign and asked me the same question.
Okay.
Porsche Racing Green, which is, slightly different than British Racing Green. It's a little bit more rich and has like kind of that emerald undertone to it.
Okay.
That is my absolute favorite. For me, I would always go Porsche Racing Green over tan with the Pepita seat inserts
So
or
that's
the
different
Schatten
from
Caro
Irish
plaid.
green, right? It's different from
Yes.
Irish greens because
It's
the
more
Irish green
metallic.
it's more metallic because Irish green is darker than British racing green.
Irish green is kind of midway.
Yeah,
Oxford green is darker than British Racing Green.
got it. You know which one I'm also liking? I'm really liking olive green.
Very pretty.
Yeah, olive green is kind of a banger, especially on a GT3. I
Yeah.
think it smacks really really well. Um, okay, the greens. I can take the greens. I've said this before on a multitude of occasions, and I'll stick to it. Um, it's not a PTS color, but like you cannot beat gentian blue on a
Mhm.
GT3 touring um, on the gold wheels. I know I didn't ask wheels per se, but just like that was the press car that came out in like 2000 and I think it was 2020 when 99 I think that was the first first year of the 20 of 992 touring was 2020. Yeah. So it was gentian blue with the gold wheels, like full on like Bugs Bunny kissing Elmer Fudd on his bald head type kiss on that. You know what I'm saying? It's sensational. Gentian blue just cannot be beat. Like I understand that that's not a PTS color, and I know people are into PTS colors and whatnot, like fair on them and whatnot. But like the fact that Frozen Berry Metallic and Gentian Blue are not PTS colors and they are so fire is such a W. Go Porsche. Um,
I
but I
have
like it.
gentian blue right in front of me, so
It's a good dude, isn't it? Like it's like perfect because like everybody talks about like Miami blue, which Miami blue is gangster. Don't get me wrong. Everybody talks about Oslo blue. They talk about maritime blue, but no one gives any credit to gentian. And gentian is this like perfect hint of metallic, like a darker blue, but it's not navy. It's just like a really, it's, if you look at the Cuban flag, that's kind of it, but with like more metallic flake to it. And shout out to my Cuban peeps. That's all I'm saying. Because
good
like,
sandwiches too.
oh my gosh, shout out Cuban sandwiches go so hard. But like, because like, I'm Puerto Rican. And so, when you look at the Puerto Rican flag, the crimson and the blue are almost near identical as the crimson and the navy that are on the United States flag. But Cuba's flag, the blue is a little bit lighter. And gentian kind of fits in that mold between that navy blue and that lighter blue that the Cuban flag has. And it's just like gentian.
Yeah.
Go big or go home. You know what I'm saying? I dig it. So there you go, gentian. Anybody wants to go ahead and spec a 992.2 touring, gentian blue, gold wheels, can never go wrong. Just like Misano Blue and gold wheels on a BMW M2 CS F87, which is one of the cooler cars ever made. Sunny Combs. Um, I'm sorry.
No, I
I'm
was quiet at least.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I really genuinely appreciate that. Okay. You mentioned you went to Road Atlanta for your birthday.
No,
Um,
that was from a client. just to
Oh,
go
it was with your client, but it was during your birthday. It was like the week before your birthday or something like that, right
week
around there. It was in May.
after.
We'd actor. Okay.
Yeah,
So I have played Road Atlanta, and I've talked about Road Atlanta on this very podcast on a number of occasions. And I've played it on Forza.
same.
Um, and it is one of my favorite tracks on that game. It's not it's big and it's fast. I think you can get up to like 155 on the back straight or something like that. It's wicked fast, but it's not big enough to go ahead and be like a NASCAR track, and I don't think it's big enough to go ahead and be a Formula One track. Do we know, does IndyCar race out at Road Atlanta?
It's like I know
I
they
don't
do the
know.
Petit Le Mans there, but I don't.
Yes,
Let's
they
see. Let
do a
me pull up
Petit Le Mans.
another. Let me pull up another window and find this out.
Okay, because I
Mm,
feel like they do, but either way, as you do that, it's got so many elevation changes. It's got a great amount, it's got the right amount of corners. The straight is really, really fast. I remember watching a video of someone taking a Grand Cherokee Trackhawk and doing work on Road Atlanta, and they were cutting the corners so hard, and you can do that in a Trackhawk because it's all-wheel drive and like the you've got the ride height, and they were just sending it at like 115 miles an hour on the corners. I was like, you legend. It was actually Matt Farah, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure he was cutting corners on the track hawk in Road Atlanta. It was a press car. It was so good. If I'm not mistaken, the only thing that happened to that track hawk is actually, even though it's got really big brakes, he did cook the brakes
uh,
because they're not carbon ceramics. They're big, but they're not carbon ceramics. So yeah. It's crazy while you do that, how like we'll talk about like cars holding values. Have you seen how well good Trackhawks are holding?
I don't know if I've ever looked up a Trackhawk for purchase ever, so I'm a horrible person to ask that question.
You know, okay, the funny thing is in no way, shape, or form does it does that surprise me that you would not be looking at Trackhawk numbers. And it should surprise absolutely no one that Papa Tarmac has looked at Trackhawk numbers. Um, I'm not a YN though. I'm not a YN. That being said, they hold steady, clean ones, clean titles at 130.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
MSRP on them was like 90 when they came out. Yeah, a clean one with like call it 3 to 5,000 miles, 3 to 6,000 miles, 130 all day. That's the market for them. And then you wonder why everybody steals them. You know, I mean, it's a cool truck. It's so I think it's because it's obviously bigger than a Charger, it's bigger than a Challenger, but then it's smaller than a Durango Hellcat. Durango Hellcats hold value too. Don't get me wrong, and so do TRXs. But like, just something about the Cherokee Trackhawk, it holds value like nobody's business.
Huh.
And yeah, they're dope. I love them. I would still love one to this day. I wouldn't mind one. Give it to me in white.
Yeah,
White. Yeah, because I feel like if it was black and all tinted out and stuff like that, and then you
it'll
see
get
me,
stolen.
well, not just that, well, all any which one of them would get stolen. But I feel like Arizona Highway Patrol and Arizona State Troopers would put me on real quick, and I'd be like, but I'm fine. I'm not doing anything. That wouldn't go so well. So what have you found on Road Atlanta?
Results are in, so anything that may have made you feel as like, oh, maybe IndyCar's theirs, because of course IndyCar drivers and teams do participate in Petit Le Mans, though that's their only involvement. It's not an
Okay.
IndyCar series race.
Okay, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. But again, so your experience, you having experience first on Forza, and Rhode Atlanta on Gran Turismo, it might be.
I don't
Um,
know, I didn't have a PlayStation, so
oh, were you an Xbox kid? All right, fair
yeah.
enough. So how long did you play it on Forza? Like we talk about like from Forza 4 all the way to like Forza
From
7,
Motorsport 3.
Motorsport 3 on, and what's the latest Forza you ever got? That you bought?
I think that would be, was it Horizon 5,
Are we at Horizon 5 already? I know. Wow. Damn. I didn't realize that we
right?
got to Horizon 5. I think so. I
For
guess
the
so.
for the Xbox, the newest one.
Yeah, the Xbox X. Yeah, I think you might be
Yeah,
right.
I bought one of those. Hold on.
Okay.
We're just going to keep a Googling tab open during this podcast today.
My good buddy Greg would go ahead and say, "Open the Googs, open the Googs." Um,
Yeah, yeah, came out November of 2021. That is the last one I've purchased.
okay, cool, fair enough. I think the last one I purchased was a Horizon 3. Um, and then I think I have Forza 6 or 7, Forza Motorsport 6. Yes. So, anyways, I have it. Still looks amazing. I try to go ahead and play it when I have to, but I am also an adult who has two jobs and a podcast and a wife and kids. Um, you played it that entire time. You finally get a chance to go ahead and drive it. We'll talk about the car in just a second because it really should come as no surprise. But how did you enjoy the track? Was it as good and as dope as it's been for the last 10 years that you've been playing Forza, or what do you think?
I would say it was better
Mm.
because, well, obviously when you're there, you can actually feel the banking and you can feel the elevation changes. And I also had the opportunity actually, because I was in a car and street tires, to take it out right after it rained. So I was able to get a little
Oh,
squirrely out there.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Was it
ideal.
yeah, very much so. Was it on PS4s, on Michelin PS4s, or what was it on?
Honestly, that is a wonderful question. I do not remember
How are you not going to know what tires you had on this car? Come on now. No, I'm just kidding.
because it was
Uh,
a track rental.
that's totally fair. Was what was the car for those who might not know?
So actually one that I had not driven before, it was a 981 Cayman GTS, and it definitely had
Oh,
something wrong with the rear diff.
so it wasn't the fact that you broke it?
No, it was already
Okay.
broken, but it's
All
a
right, fair
track
enough.
rental. What do you expect?
That's fair. That's fair. 781s are cool, man. Or
Yeah, I
981s,
mean,
excuse me. 981. I said 781. I meant to say 981.
they
That's
sound good when it
yeah,
comes to, like a non-GT car came in, of course. So
right.
sound is definitely going to be miles better than a base 718. But yeah, I mean, it had, the same balance and control you would anticipate from a Cayman, minus it
Yeah.
being a little bit beat up due to the nature of the car's use and its little life cycle. But nonetheless, I still pushed it very aggressively
I'm
and it
sure.
handled it very well.
Yeah, I mean, and they're perfectly balanced. They're not that fast, but they're fast enough. They make like mid 300 horsepower. They're quick. Remind me, did Colby have a 981? Hers was a 981, right?
Is it awful that I don't know?
I think it was a 2014. I think she had it. Yeah, hers was a 981 before she sold it. Um, Shout out to Colby. I know she's rocking the McCann. You and
We're
Colby
both
became
Macan
McCann
mommies.
twins. Yep. But sorry. I don't know why that made me laugh so much. Yeah, 981s, they're great. They'll talk about value. Those are cool. Those are good values. Because that one, like you can go ahead and get a really, really well sorted 981. It's like gonna be like 30-35 grand.
I almost bought one like 2.5, 3 years ago. I went and
Mm.
checked a number of them out, but I don't know. In comparison to the GT3, it was just kind of a conversation of like,
Yeah.
just wait, don't
No,
even bother.
sure. No, I totally get that. By the way, how is the GT3? Because like you're okay. Last time you were on the podcast, like same day you were on your way to go ahead and sign up the paperwork, and obviously you ended up copping the Macan and all that good stuff, and that's been your art car for basically little as makes no difference, almost a year now and stuff. But does the GT3 does it see the light of day like at this rated time? Like how is it? You know, because you drive the Macan so much, do you guys take out the GT3 often, or is it like really dormant?
Yes, but it needs an oil change currently, and we've been getting it scheduled because there's one very particular place out here in which we take it for service.
Mm,
So right now it is in a state of dormancy.
okay, gotcha. How many miles are we on that now?
Still like 43,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many of those miles were put on in the last calendar year?
Maybe 5 or 6, but
Oh,
that's
okay.
typical for
No, no, no.
us.
That was way more than I expected you to go ahead and say. Because
Really?
yeah, well, because earlier today we were having the conversation about your Macan. You've only put 4,300 miles on it, and I was like, how
Yeah,
would you
because
only
you
put?
balance the two like
Yeah,
that.
Right, but you don't go anywhere, so that's why I was like wondering. So it's shocking to go ahead and see 5 to 6 thousand on the GT3 in the last calendar year. That's way more than I expected you to go ahead and say. So that's pretty good. Okay, are you enjoying it still as much as you have over the last couple of years? Like, or is it like are you the interesting about dot one GT3s is some people are now starting to go ahead and put them up for sale because the warranty is up on that second engine and stuff like that. How are you and Josh being able to go ahead and enjoy that GT3, even though it's in a state of dormancy because of his oil change?
So this is actually, it's been killing me softly. I
What are you, Lauren
personally made the
Hill?
decision upon purchasing the Macan that to motivate and challenge myself that I would not drive the GT3 again until I bought a GT4 RS. Which is why in personal conversations, you know that I've made some very drastic moves in my career area of life to ensure that that happens and I'm not just, passenger princessing in a car that I'm deeply in love with and thoroughly enjoy. So I have not touched it. I've, sat in it as a passenger, but it's been an intensive use of free will, and Josh always goes, "Please go drive the car. I don't understand why you're complaining about not having fun driving," but I'm also holding myself to that. It's like it's probably worse than a diet.
Yeah, you went cold turkey on heroin, basically, is what you actually did. Like,
Yeah, but
not
then
that I've
that
ever
means I'm
done
gonna
that,
work
but you know what I
really
mean.
hard to get it again. So,
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You basically, there's a scene, Ray Charles when he went cold turkey when he went to rehab is literally he did that. If you watch the Ray movie, it's a movie. I don't care that it's a biopic. My point being is you're literally doing that to yourself. You're like going to bed, crying and then doing the itchy itch because you can't drive a GT3. Like power to you, I suppose. Like, because Lord knows if I had a GT3, like right now, when was it? Like, okay, I remember where I was when the Sorrento. That's right, we're comparing a Sorrento to a GT3. When the Sorrento hit 100K, I was on the 101 heading to work, actually having left Andrioli's. Shout out to John Paulo and Espressos and Engines. I was on my way to work, and I was on the 101 doing a very high speed through the construction zone. And I remember crossing over to 100,000 miles. And it was March of 2024. And as we speak now, we are recording first week of August in 2025. The car has 131,700 miles. So I've put 31,000 miles in uh, 17, 17 months.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I drive way too much, dog.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, see, I don't think I should be. I don't think I don't think I deserve a sports car because I would drive it into the ground. You know, maybe it's just not meant for me, guys. Maybe this is Palmet Tarmac saying he's retiring from the sports and supercar world. Maybe this is
as
the end of
if,
TT. Maybe this is where we. You remember the last time when you were on the podcast, we talked about like, what happens if like all of a sudden our stuff just shuts down and like people don't know that we died because we haven't been posting and things of that nature. Like maybe this is it. Maybe this is my final message to the listeners and to the people of the greater Phoenix area where it's like maybe this is where we call it. Man, if that's the
wow,
case,
that
it's
got really
real
dark.
dark, you
Though I
know?
can tell you now because we were talking about that last time. Yeah, so as I have been purposefully for, you know, testing algorithmic purposes, not posting for a decent bit of time, yeah, nobody cares. So nobody cares. I could be dead. Nobody gives a shit. But that's, that's life. The world kept spinning.
All
So
right, fair enough. I guess like Tormenting Tarmac will just fall off the face of the earth and people are gonna be like, they'll just find you guys will just find new podcasts to listen to, I guess. Or somebody will go ahead and take my place here in the Phoenix area and you know pick up right where I left off. which is I don't know where, but maybe this is how we ended. And if we do, then we go out with a bang. Because you never know. I'm kidding. This podcast is going absolutely nowhere. You'll have to go ahead and murder me brutally in order for this podcast to end, everybody. So if you want to go ahead and take out Papa Tarmac, I'm right here. um, so that's good for you. I'm glad that was a really weird turn to get back to where I wanted to go ahead and get to. My point being is, um, so you are not wanting to drive the GT3 until you get the 4RS, which can only mean the fact that out of all the times that I've spoken to you, the 4RS is closer than it ever has been. Is that fair to assume? Not to go ahead and put that on
Yes.
your, not to go ahead and like make you be pressured on anything, but it sounds like it.
No, no, it's not. It's something where I actually have a definitive timeline, and it's not a, oh, if I do this or if this happens, et cetera, et cetera. It's a stepping stones if I need to do this, this, and this, and then it's there. That's the best way of saying it.
Yeah,
So as I work efficiently, I have a very particular timeline to actually genuinely finally make that happen and
right.
not get disappointed. So I don't let myself get too excited because I just try to stay neutral about these things to not, universally jinx myself in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, it's actually close and it feels like a carrot on a string that's staying stagnant because the person got sick of pulling it away from me. So
It's like, how do I put it? It's like the hare finally got tired enough, and now the turtle is climbing back in. Sonny, you are the turtle.
yeah.
You are the turtle. I like that. Maybe should we name that today's episode the story of the hare and the turtle?
Yeah, I think that would actually that would be great. And goodness, I'm so glad I didn't just do that impression.
Which one? Now you have to
You
do the
know,
impression.
You know the meme with the zombie kid that's like really old and it's like Halloween and he's on the news and they're like, "Oh, you're a zombie." And he goes, "I like turtles." And that's yeah.
I thought you were gonna go ahead and do the fat kid that talks about caramel. He's like, "Oh my
No.
god, you know that stuff? I love that stuff." I thought you were gonna do that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's great." I pray that you do that, but
No, it's the
now
I like turtles kid.
oh, okay. All right. Well, shout out to the Turtles kid. Turtles are cool. I was actually having a conversation earlier today about the Ninja Turtles and stuff like that and how great they are. So I mean, turtles are cool. I mean, the freaking University of Maryland names them. Is that Louis that just jumped on to your
Oh,
couch?
that's Chewy.
Oh, that's Chewy, not Louis. Sorry. My bad.
Louis the black one.
Louis the Black. He's the new one, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Chewy's the new one. Chewy's 9 months old. Louis four
Chewy's
and a
new.
half.
Okay, shoot the Louis. Too many E's. I get what you're saying. Okay, so that one that just hopped on the couch, he's the new puppy.
Mhm.
Okay, cool, very cool. How I mean, we've got some dog enthusiasts on this car culture podcast. How is training a new 9.5 month old puppy?
He's been the easiest puppy I've ever raised, and maybe that's just because my primary experience had been German Shepherds. But Louis was definitely a little more intensive when it came to enforcing things, especially during his adolescent phase. And Chewy more so observed and absorbed Louis's, 4.5-year-old relaxed, well-trained behavior. So we never went through the chewing on things phase. We never went through the chewing on me phase. Never the play biting. Like he's just been incredibly eager to please kind of since day one. So 10 out of 10 puppy experience, I will tell you that.
Gangster, love to see it. Good job, Chewy. Keep up the good work, man. You don't want to go ahead and literally bite the hand that feeds you in this particular case, which would be Sunny. That would be completely not good and whatnot. So I hear that. Um, yeah, puppies, they're tough. Shout out to my wife who trained our dog Sparky, who has been an absolute delight. Um, he's a pain in my ass sometimes, and he's kind of needy, but I love him. I do. I adore him. And Belle has been in my life, my Chihuahua, for little as makes no difference. 16 years coming up on November. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Did
goodness.
I ever tell you how that went down? No. All right. Well,
Possibly, but I don't
it's
remember.
okay. Story time with Papa Tarmac. So, when my wife and I were dating for about 6 months, I had found out that her all-time dog that she always wanted to have was like a white teacup Chihuahua, right? And you know, this was before we ever, were engaged, married. I really liked the girl. I married her, obviously. And we'd been dating for 6 months. And as a Christmas gift, um, one of my old high school friends, her dog had just had a litter and whatnot. And it was all like these really cute Chihuahuas. And she had one girl, like one female. That was it. And I was like, bruh, no way. And I got her. She got it to me. She gave it to me for a swell price, not anything too crazy. Yes, I bought my dog. Sue me.
I bought
Um,
both of mine.
yeah, I mean, I didn't buy it from a store. I bought it from somebody who, her dog had just had a litter. Um, and I brought her home, and she was this little cute itty bitty chihuahua. She was the sweetest thing in the world. I'm like, you're so adorable. And so I went ahead and, brought it to Natalie. And I was like, I got you a gift. My mother-in-law, or Natalie's mom, who is now my mother-in-law, obviously, hated this idea. She was like, Jorge, do not buy this dog. Do not. And I'm like, oh, you're gonna love me because I'm buying this fucking dog. And I did. And Natalie and Belle clicked immediately. And they have been mostly inseparable for the last 16 years. And they like, it's funny. I'm the one that cares more for Belle now, especially, because the kids are around and stuff like that. And the kids love Belle, and Belle loves the kids. True story. I think I'm the only man other than my sons that Belle likes. If you are a man that comes into my household, she will bark at you, and she will not stop barking at you until you leave. That's a true story. Um, and so even though I'm the main person that she interacts with from in the sense of like I feed her, I take her outside. Although my oldest son helps me out a bunch and stuff like that. We coordinate with that. When Natalie comes, she forgets my existence. True story. My dog forgets my existence. She only cares about my wife, and I'm like, you bitch ass traitor. Like I have kept you alive for this entire time. And every time my wife comes around, you forget that I exist. It's like, if I were to go ahead and fall off and TT were to go ahead and fall off the face of the earth, that's literally Belle in a nutshell. So thanks, Belle. Really appreciate you. But yeah, 16 years, 16 years. She lived with Natalie for our 4 years that we dated. When we bought our first house, Belle came over, and she hasn't left since. And here we are. My wife and I have been
Um,
together for almost 16 years in total, and my dog has been with us that entire time. How many people can say that? I don't know how many people can say that, to be quite honest with you. That's pretty good.
oh, I mean, Chewy was actually, he was a gift as well.
Okay.
And I mean, well, we've been together for quite a few years before getting him. So, I mean, because I don't have a lot of female friends, I already decided him and Louie would be my bridesmaids anyways. So he'll be there for that.
Okay. That's totally fair. So,
Yeah.
are you going to go ahead and dress them up in like gowns, even though they're female, or excuse me, they're male dogs, or do they get tuxedos? How does that work?
I think that because they are girly enough looking dogs that they would not mind wearing little dresses. But
Sure.
if they do mind, then they'll have to wear something else. But I thought it would be kind of silly.
I mean, true. I could, you know what? Screw it. It's your wedding. It's your make believe wedding that we don't know as to whether or not it's actually happening even yet. To be honest with you, because I mean, no pressure on Josh if he listens to this podcast, bruh. No pressure to you, my dude. But there you go. Now you have your bridesmaids, and they're going to be your dogs, while your soon to be husband potentially has a human on the other side. Or maybe he should just have. Or oh, you have Chewy, he has Louie.
But I had
That
Louis
actually
first. I
Okay,
think
fine.
that
Then Louis can
Louis,
is would Louis be your maid of honor, and then Chewie would be the best man? How this would work? All
probably.
right, fair enough. It's like this whole wedding is gonna be Beverly Hills Chihuahua, man. Like, I love that.
That would be us, the dogs, and like my dad, and there you go. There's everyone.
Yeah,
So
Kevin showing up in the pink Porsche he never wanted. It's like,
yeah.
there you go. What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go ahead and record a podcast directly from Sunny's wedding. Like, and here comes Chewy coming down the row. He is in a pink dress. This is a male dog in a pink dress, but you love to see it. Um, that's so good. I was gonna ask you something actually really quickly. Before I lose my train of thought. Um, you have come on this podcast on a number of occasions, and I'm not gonna say that you have besmirched this car that I'm about to talk about, but I feel, and I'm putting you on the spot. I'm putting you on blast, respectfully, of course. I feel that you have chosen to not give this particular brand of car its just due. Now I plan on having more deeper discussions with other individuals about this, but to kind of put you in your place for 1 second, again, respectfully, um, the C8 ZR1 did some stuff around the ring. I don't know if you caught it. Did you see the numbers?
You mean that it's still slower than the GT3 RS and it has twice the power in the car?
Okay, first of all, F off. It's the engineers were driving that car, not race car drivers. Thank you very much. Um,
You know what I think, actually, I'm
hit
so
me.
sorry to cut you off, but you know
No,
what's
dude,
messed up
are you
about
though?
the
Are you
ring?
really, Sonny? Are you really? Are you actually sorry?
I am. No, I don't
Just
like doing that to people. It's
totally
because I
kidding.
didn't take
Please.
my afternoon medication. So the thing is, I want to see, them take like the top 10 cars, right? I want to see the
Hmm.
same driver because there's always going to be a difference between
Yeah,
drivers. It
but
doesn't matter.
you know that manufacturers aren't going to allow that to happen. They're just
But
not.
they should.
They should, if they had bigger balls, they should, but they're not. And that's the unfortunate thing of it. I think some manufacturers would be willing to go ahead and give that a shot. There'd be others that would absolutely be nope, that's not happening. And we know who those manufacturers would be. I think Corvette would be willing to go ahead and say yes. I think Ford would be willing to say yes. I think Porsche would be willing to say yes. Ferrari would say absolutely not. I
Yeah.
think Lam I think Lambo would be willing to. I think Lambo might actually be willing to play that game. I even think Aston Martin would be willing to play that game. Mercedes, Mercedes is tough. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they fall closer to how Ferrari feels about it, but you never know. But I would agree with you. But the thing is, and people continue to go ahead and harp on the fact, oh, the GT3 RS has half the power, and it still went faster. First of all, they went after the GTD, right? Second of all, they used engineers. They didn't use their race car driver. So, I mean, I've watched a couple of videos that there's people who know the ring really well who think it's got about 10 seconds left in it. 10 seconds. ZR1, not even ZR1X. 10 seconds around the ring is a lot. And
Why
by
are
the way,
they
these
naming them like Apple products
I
now?
don't know, man. That's a great question. ZR1 makes sense because that's been a
Yeah,
name
that's
from
been a
19,
thing.
right? But uh,
The
the
X,
the X literally it's because it's all-wheel drive, but they could have absolutely gone somewhere else. They trademarked the name Zora and they didn't use it, and I don't know why.
that's such a cool name.
I know, yeah, and I don't know why they chose to not use it. It doesn't make any sense. E-Ray makes sense, kind of lame, but still makes sense. Z06 is a name that they've had for forever. ZR1, everything. Like, I understand all-wheel drive, but you could have gone better. My point being is ZR1 has, according to Misha, who's a famous YouTuber that literally just runs the Nurburgring all the time, and that's what he does. He's awesome. He was thinking it's got about 8 to 10 seconds left in it, which that's insane. And if that's the case, that is in 3RS territory, 1000%. And then the other thing to answer to your question is you mentioned half the power on a 3RS. First off, there's a couple things. And I'm not trying to go ahead and defend Corvette in any way, shape, or form. I'm just wanting to state facts. We all know Porsche develops the GT3s and the 3RSs at the ring. So they almost kind of have a home field advantage to an extent. right? But I'm not even going to go there. The other thing that we need to go ahead and bring up is that weight difference, because the ZR1 is about a 3,600 pound car. ZR1X probably just a smidge more because of the all-wheel drive. So let's call it 37, right? What's a 3RS weighing? Three and
Very
three and
little.
change. So that's so my point is we're looking at about a 600 to 650 pound difference in between cars. And so, yeah, it's got double the horsepower and whatnot, but it's also
3197, so a hair under
3197.
3200.
Okay, fair enough. And what's a ZR? What's a ZR? Let's use ZR1 in this example. I'm going to call it like
Yeah,
3650.
let's find out. 3670. Wow, you
I
were
am so, it's,
good.
Sonny, it's almost as if I were like a journalist or something like that. Man, Ridge, Sheffield, I'm a pro. Um, my point being is about a 670 pound difference in between, or 500. Let's call it 550 pounds. That's two full size grown men worth, right? And change, and like about 100 pound suitcase in the back. And yeah, I understand it's got, well over 1,000 horsepower and things of that nature, but it also was developed in a different place. And because of his weight, and plus Americans have always done power first, everything else second and whatnot. So when we see these races around Goodwood and whatnot, you always see like a Ford Galaxy racing against Mini Coopers and stuff like that. And it's like, that's the style. The Europeans do it one way, the Americans do it another. And so here we are seeing Porsche doing it, lightness and things of that nature, sophistication, if you will. And then Corvette said, or Chevrolet, excuse me, said, we're going to go ahead and bring a hammer, but we're going to bring a really, really, really sophisticated hammer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, it's, view it this way. You know what the ZR1 is to me? The ZR1 is Stormbreaker. Marvel reference. Little Avengers right there. My sons are obsessed with the Avengers right now, as they should be. That's, that's the way that I view it. It's this cool axe that Thor made when he almost died. And this was Chevy saying, we're about to die. Let's make an axe. And they brought the axe, and now they're cutting the heads off a horse. Okay, like I'm with this. I love it. So I do think that the car has a lot left in it. Does it impress you in any way, shape, or form?
I mean, I don't really. I mean, as you know, like I was very into and started with, American manufactured cars a long, long, long time ago.
Yeah, you're a
And
Shelby
then
girl, of
I
course.
just kind of left that. I feel like the Mustang isn't what the Mustang was meant to be. Like I would love to own a classic. Because it's
You talk
just
about GTD is not what it's meant to be, or you talk about just
any
current
of them,
generation?
any of them. Like the current generation, probably from really the first S550 going forward when it comes to design, purpose,
Where do you,
size, like just everything.
where do you view that the Mustang changed for you? What generation for you in
Like,
particular?
wait, can you rephrase, like,
Yeah,
as in
sure.
what do I feel is like proper for a Mustang, or where do I feel as if they stopped being the pony car they were intended to be?
The pony car that you feel that they were intended to be, where did that end for you?
Honestly, probably after the 70s. Though some
Okay,
people
so
would agree early
not even
2000s.
Fox body. You think Fox body is where it ended for you?
I just
Interesting.
think they're hideous. So I
Well,
don't like
yeah, I mean,
it's
if
a
we go in
great
terms of looks,
platform.
of course,
But
yeah,
dear Lord, as an artist, like I always do pay attention to the aesthetics. It's a wonderful platform for really anything. I mean, those are great drift cars, those are great straight line driving cars, depending on how you build them.
sure.
Wonderful
GTD is
platform, very
insane.
versatile.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just not, it's not what obviously I had an S550, I had an S197. I love them. My little sister has an S197 now, actually.
okay, nice. A
Um,
V6, or did she actually get a
yeah,
V8?
Yeah, she got a V6. My dad
All
got it
right.
for her, and he
All
didn't get
right.
me my first car. So I was like, wow, okay, thanks, Kevin, again. But
Kevin, what are you doing, bruh?
forgot about me. I'm too old and boring now. But I'm kidding. I love him. He's my bestie. But so it's like I don't know. I feel like a lot of the American cars have kind of lost their soul, and like I get that times have changed or whatever, but I know I've mentioned it before. I have such an affliction for Porsche for many reasons, but they have stayed true to themselves, and you can't deny that. And I just
Mm.
wish I would see that happen more.
Losing their soul, that is an enormous statement, and you are absolutely entitled to that, and I respect it and whatnot. By the way, I can't get over how cool the skyline looks behind you. It and this is why Scottsdale is what it is. Um, my point being is, sorry, I got lost a train of thought, but saying that that's kind of crazy, especially I've because I feel like Chevy is doing their best to go ahead and keep that soul in the car and the Corvettes as best as humanly possible, and whatnot. And yeah, they might be going more track oriented, but let's be honest, Chevrolet has been running, it has been taking out Corvettes to the track for a very, very, very long time. This isn't anything new. I love that they're doing this, and for as many people who might go ahead, there's a contingent of people who like the GTD and they don't. But if you don't like the GTD, getting a regular, Mustang GT, or if you want to get a dark horse, is probably the answer for yourself. If you want to go ahead and get a 10-speed automatic GT convertible and run the Americana, like go for it. I don't really think that it's lost that much of its soul, but I do I can see where you're coming from to an extent from your perspective. I suppose, especially I mean because one of your all time favorite cars is a 68 GT500. Like you want Eleanor.
Yeah, and you don't
Yeah,
get that anymore. You don't get anything close to that anymore, and that's
yeah.
honestly what makes me sad.
Were you a fan of like the 2007 to 2014 GT500s?
Yeah,
You,
huge. I wanted
okay.
one that was white with blue stripes, kind of like the old, Shelby coloring.
Uh-huh.
I had a project in school actually where we had a budget for a road trip. It was in like fifth grade or something. And they were like, okay,
They gave you that as an
so
assignment in fifth grade.
I was in special,
Fair
not
enough.
not special needs class. I was in gifted and talented class, which is kind of the same thing. We all turned out to have autism and depression, but nonetheless, so
Sunny.
I have a diagnosis. You're fine. But nonetheless, it was a project where it was like, okay, so here's your budget, and then you get to choose hotels and whatever. Well, I spent like almost all of the budget on a GT 500 that was
As
spec'd
one
like
should.
that.
I
Yeah.
only call that out because I got that project, but I was in driver's ed in high school. So for you to get that as a project in fifth grade, that just obviously tells me that you are a much, much more brilliant and advanced and gifted person and whatnot. Like was your teacher Charles Xavier? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out, because like that's just that would have in fifth grade I would not have been able to go ahead and try and budget out like, oh, this is the road trip. This is how it's gonna look. No, I can't do that in fifth grade. No way. I was trying to go ahead and I didn't even know what a fuck I didn't even know what a
Eat
freaking Lamborghini.
crayons. I don't.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a Lamborghini was until I was like in sixth grade. So a year later, to be fair. But yeah, that is too good. The GT 500s, like '07 through '09 GT 500. Yeah, right. First year of the GT 500 and S197 is 2007 or is it 2008?
Yeah,
'07.
I think that's '07.
'07. Those were so cool. They still are. Speaking of holding value, those cars are starting to hold value. People didn't drive them. They didn't put any miles on them and stuff like that. So that's kind of on them. But they had the 5.4 liter V8 supercharged from the Ford Lightning, right? And it is just actually so okay, real quick. Sunny's doing some really, really cool stuff outside of the podcast that I'm not sure I'm really comfortable sharing unless she wants to and whatnot. But because she's doing it now, her level of professionalism has gone exponentially up. Not saying she was never professional. She very much was, but now it's on a different level that it's like it's almost like she's being the producer to the show, and I feel completely unprepared on my own podcast. It's almost infuriating, but I can appreciate it because you're being that additional help that I would have never imagined me needing. So I'm assuming that you were looking up values on GT 500s as we were bringing that up, is like
I
only I can imagine.
was. Oh my goodness. So right here, I'm seeing a gorgeous one. It's not my spec. It's white with red stripes, but she's
I
still
don't like
very
it.
beautiful. She's still very tasteful.
I
But
mean, it's cool,
no,
but that's not my spec either.
8,000 miles, 42 grand. That is a Scottsdale local car for sale. Oh, here's one in my spec.
What is it?
Oh my goodness.
White with blue?
34,000 miles. Yes.
Let me take a guess. Let me take a guess. Can I
Okay.
play this game? All right, cool.
Yes, I would love
34,000
it.
miles. Okay.
Hmm.
And it's clean?
Yes.
Where's it based out of?
It is. This is another local vehicle.
So the
Wait,
first
wait,
one that
wait.
you
Hawaii. I'm so sorry.
oh, Hawaii? I bet you it's like super
Hawaii.
cheap. Ah, what did you say the first one that you said with the 8,000 miles was like 42K?
Yep, yep.
37.8.
You're aiming way too high, Jorge.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this again. All right, one more shot. 34,000 in Hawaii? I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna like lowball this bad, but we'll just go for it anyways. 29.4.
Way closer. It's 39.90.
$30,990.
$30,990.
Bruh.
I
Here,
know.
let me tell you something right now for anybody who's listening out there. I understand that you'll probably be like, I don't know if I want to go ahead and pay that much on shipping. At 30,000, at 31K, you absolutely need to be going ahead and flying over to Hawaii, checking out this car and shipping it back by boat.
Here's
Now,
another '07 in Tempe for 26.9.
really?
Yeah.
That's cheap. For GT 500.
Yeah.
That's cheap. Wow.
I know.
That is way cheaper than I expected. That's not. Let me tell you something. I don't think that bodes well for Mustang for GT 500s. They have gotten too cheap, dude. Let me tell you something. They're cheaper than Terminators.
That's crazy.
Terminators have gotten more value than first generation GT 500s and S197s. Never did I think I'd see the day. But I also have gone on record multiple times saying that the Terminator is the best Mustang ever. I have said that on this very podcast. Go back in the catalog. I've said it. Listen to me and Kent a year ago. I said it. Knowing the fact that GTD was coming and I'd still take a Terminator. Terminate,
No,
dude.
that's valid.
Yeah, it's actually. Can we go ahead and can you look up Terminators real quick?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
because now we need to go ahead and see what those are doing right now because that's the move.
I wish they were design wise prettier. I know that's a really evil, awful thing to say, but you know how I am.
Bruh. We're friends. We're tight. You know that.
Mhm.
Fighting words.
I
Fighting words.
apologize. I'm saying it's a wonderful, wonderful,
It
wonderful
looks
engine. It's a wonderfully
so good.
engineered car. It's very,
You
I would
gotta
say
get it.
it's a 90s icon, the 2000s icon.
Mhm.
I meant to say 2000s.
No, no,
Mind
but
that
I
I
get it.
did tell you I slept for 4 hours last
No,
night,
but
though.
in your defense, the first design of the like sharpened up new edge is 99. So,
Yeah.
that counts.
Um, I have to actually go on. This is not my partnered
Oh,
auto looking up.
okay.
This is
Well, hold
not
on.
Auto Trader. I'm sorry, guys.
Are we still sponsored by Auto Trader? Because if so, then we can go out to Auto Trader.
Well, we worked with them once, and I don't know if it was a one and done, but I still support them heavily because I've used their platform since before I could drive. But
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I was also going to go ahead and mention Cars and Bid just because I rock with Doug Jamuro and everybody, but we can go ahead, we'll use that as backup. We'll use Auto Trader and then go to Cars and Bids if we can't find anything on there.
yeah, I mean, I'm stuck on Car Gurus right now because it was the first that came up. So
Okay.
I'm seeing 20 grand for like 42,000
On
miles.
a what year? An oh 03, oh 04, or what?
Oh, 03.
20 grand for how many miles?
43,000.
Really? Is it a convertible?
Yep.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
By the way, I'll happily take a convertible Terminator at 20 grand. At 20 grand, I'll happily take one. I don't care. But the coupes are going to be more expensive. Hit me with a coupe and tell me the color.
I need to actually put in a search query for a coupe.
Okay, so you got to put in oh 03, oh 04 Mustang and then Cobra. Or does it even come up with Cobra? Okay.
Oh, it does.
All right, sweet.
SVT Cobra.
All right.
Okay, we have a coupe. This is an '04. It is white. It has 17,742 miles. Is the
So
price right?
17,000 miles, white, oh 04,
Mm-hmm.
42 ish and change.
Close, close.
How close? Like really close?
44,995.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I'm telling
I
you.
would not.
They're so expensive, dude. There was a time when those cars were like 20 grand.
Yeah.
Uh there was a time where I was trying to convince my wife, I'm like, we need to buy a Terminator. We need to buy a Terminator. And she was like, Jorge, you're dumb. And I was like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh man. You know, I still have a love for Terminators. I do, like deep down inside. But I've almost outgrown the car. You know? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I love ZL1 so much. Like the other day I was having a conversation. Shout out to Lindsay Jess. She was on the podcast. Part of course, that car show with my good buddies Ryan Barkey and Dan Pilling. Shout out to my boy Dan Pilling, who I hope listens. Yeah, just revived the new Car Stories podcast from the Peterson Automotive Museum. My man, slaying. Salute to you, my British brother. So we were having the conversation with Lindsay, and um, in that 10 car garage, I brought up ZL1, not non 1LE, and I didn't bring up doing a Mustang Cobra Terminator. And that's weird because like 10 years ago, Jorgito would have said a Terminator. What's wrong with me? I think I need to, if there's anybody listening to this podcast who has an oh 03, oh 04 Terminator that they'd let me drive, please, please, please do. I won't put into a wall. I swear. I'm not that guy. I won't give it. I don't know if you know this, Sonny. When you rev that all the way to, I think the red line's like 6,500. The SVT in the rev counter lights up red.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's very cool. It's a it's a very cool feature. It's very similar to the Vipers, to the new gen Vipers. When you go redline, the Viper pops up on the screen. It's kind of like that. It's very
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it's a fun feature that and the supercharger wine is redonkulous. Sounds just as nutty, if not nuttier than Hellcats do. Like that's the thing. Oh 03, oh 04 Terminators were the Hellcats before the Hellcats.
Yeah,
You know,
I would agree.
and that's why I love that they are now where they're at. Now they've become collector's items because the people who want them are trying to go ahead and get them away from the takeover lifestyle and whatnot. By the way, I saw what Dodge did, and oh my god, I cannot believe they posted up. Did you see that post?
No.
So Dodge official, the Instagram account, um, supported takeovers on a post. And I was like, "There's no way you did that. What do
That's a
you?"
little trashy of
I
them.
was like, "Come on, guys, this is crazy." They got so much backlash for it. I think they went ahead and
Good.
took it down. Oh yeah, good. I was like, that is wild. It was like a week ago or so. Or did you find it?
Marriage is scary because what if they don't like street
Like
takeovers? Ew.
that's the wildest thing I could have ever seen from a manufacturer, especially them. Especially considering that all you see at these takeovers are Scat Packs, Hellcats, Red Eyes, Trackhawks. Like we just talked about Trackhawks being 130K because all the trashed ones are trashed. That is wild. Could you imagine Chevrolet or Ford doing that?
No, I couldn't
No,
imagine any manufacturer
anyone,
doing that because, like, I don't know, they think before they post.
whoever was in charge of that social media post, boy,
Needs to be fired.
fired
Hopefully has
immediately.
been fired. Oh, wow.
Crazy. It was so nuts. But yeah, so you're meaning to tell me after this entire conversation that we just had about Mustangs, you would not rock with an 0304 Terminator?
I mean, I have also kind of grown past that. Um, though I did actually enjoy driving something that was not labeled as a Porsche, but is still the same exact platform as one recently.
What did you drive? Do I know about this?
Yeah, yeah. So I was tooting along town in a Urus Performante for about a week,
No,
and I will tell you right
wrong
now,
Porsche. Got it. Sorry. I was thinking 911. Obviously, now it makes sense. It's Cayenne. Yes. Carry on.
yeah,
Yeah.
comical, hilarious thing. Every single time I got in or out of the car, I
By the
was
way,
like smacking the left side,
yeah,
trying to grab the key or put the key in.
I think car guy Ryan, who I know listens, I think he may have spotted you driving said Urus because,
Yeah, was
like,
I probably just bumping music in that thing, being a
probably,
menace?
probably he was like he sent me that, and I thought that he was, I thought that he was like saying like, oh, I just saw this today, and I misunderstood him, and he was like, no, no, I did, and it looked really similar to yours, to the one that you were driving, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
I'll put down the very, very minimal money that I make and say that was Solana J. Combs driving that car.
Oh, do you still have the picture?
No, it's so. I mean, I probably do, but as I've told you, I'm using my iPhone as my FaceTime camera right now, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to because then it
You'll
would
have to
ruin the
send
whole
that to
feed.
me after
I
because that
I'll
would
see if
be
I can
so
find it.
funny.
Yeah, I was like, that might be Sunny.
Only time I leave the house, you never even know what car I'm in or what state I'm in or
Yeah,
where I am. I'm just very
yeah.
elusive. Do I exist? Nobody knows.
I don't know. Like, are you John Cena? Am I like, can I not see you? I don't know. Is that a pink cup that's just being held up by nothing? Is that a
Yeah.
Stanley?
Oh no, this is a Yeti.
Oh my God, we're too bougie for Stanleys nowadays. Okay, fair enough.
No, I've been using Yetis for everything forever. I have the coffee cups. They just came out with a green that's like Irish green. I'm walking across the street before my flight tomorrow and I'm getting one.
Very nice. By the way, okay, your call. Can we
Mm,
talk about the new stuff that you're up to these days, or would you rather? Because like you're still painting very clearly, you're still very much
yeah.
doing your artwork, but you have chosen to go ahead and step back from Instagram for a few hot minutes and whatnot. Well, more so like a couple of months, because you and I have talked. And anybody who's been on this podcast can tell you Instagram is really hitting the can right now, and I don't know exactly why. There are algorithms they can't seem to find them out. Like I saw Mark Zuckerberg made $24 billion in 24 hours the other day. He made 24 billion in one day. And then
Um,
it made him
what?
shoot up to the third richest man on the planet.
Wow.
Can can you imagine making 24 billion in 24 hours and still only being the third richest man on the planet?
You know, the only thing that I really have to say is my Roomba's name is Zuckerberg.
Your Roomba?
Hmm.
Like as in like the drum that so you
No,
choose.
the robot vacuum.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, I see them.
Zuckerberg,
Yeah, that's
because it
fun.
sucks up.
Me.
Yep.
Yep. No, I get it. Very, very creative.
I was trying to be serious. It didn't last.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of that. This might be the end of the beginning of the episode right here. That clip right there. Um, that's funny. But yeah, he third richest man on the planet after making 24 billion in one day. That's
From what? Do
I can't remember. He did something having to go. I think it had to do with it may have had to do with WhatsApp. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that he made 24 bill in a day.
26.8?
That's even more. Great. Well, my bad for
Uh,
forgetting the 2 bill.
and Meta's stock value, shoot, I didn't know I should have suddenly bought, but at the same time, it's just friggin' Ponzi scheme. Everything is so,
It says
I'm
you
not getting
rocking the
into that.
Ray-Ban metas.
No, no, I'm just talking
Just
about
I'm,
the
I know.
stock market in general.
Oh yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme, 100%.
Yeah.
Jordan Belfort. One of the very few things he taught me is that.
Have you met him?
No, I just watched Wolf of Wall Street, so it's really not him. It was more Scorsese and DiCaprio that taught me it. Because it's a
I
great
mean,
movie.
hey, great
Great,
movie, one of my
great
favorites.
movie. It's one of those movies that is like a really tough watch. You enjoy it, and then you're like, I'm not gonna watch this movie for another 5 years, and then you go back and you're like, okay, I watched it another 5 years before I watch it again.
I think I'm like a once a year kind of person, but we also have a Wolf of Wall Street painting above our bed,
Yeah.
so
I mean, DiCaprio is like one
we're
of my favorite
committed.
actors. Yeah, no, DiCaprio is one of my favorite actors. So like that was like he should have won an Oscar for Wolf of Wall Street, to be completely
Agreed.
honest. And it was a travesty that he did not. And I'm glad that he finally got it for The Revenant. But his best role is far and away Wolf of Wall Street, and it's not even close. But yeah, 26.8 billion. I feel stupid for even getting that wrong by 2 billion. It's insane. What, you have a face
See,
if you found something else?
no, it's just how I was saying, this the stock market is just a mess. Like
Yeah.
it's so heavily manipulated. It says because of a stock surge on every one of these articles, but do we have why there was a stock surge?
Because they
No.
manipulated it. It's because they
Hmm.
manipulate. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. But then he's worth like over 200 billion now. And the only people that are richer than him is this guy, something Oliver, Lance Oliver, Lawrence Oliver. I don't know. And then number one being you know who, you know,
Yeah.
which of course, Mr. Musk. Like that's crazy. Like, it's like it. Like, what do you do with that type of money? Like the biggest
I
jack,
was like, if you're asking me a lot of things,
yeah, the biggest
but
jackpot is like maybe the biggest reasonable jackpot is like probably like 450 million with an
now you
M.
can spend that so fast.
You could, apparently now, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you just want to deal with like not having to pay the taxes and then you buy like, I don't know, like a G5 or something, like that's already like a $30 million plane, $16 million plane.
something,
So yeah, then you have a write-off there for like taxes on that. But I mean, you've already done that. And then if you're doing other things or if you're trying to actually go into like philanthropic endeavors, that is actually oddly enough, as crazy as it is to say, in the grand scheme of things, not as much as it feels like it is. And that's disturbing.
that's extremely disturbing.
Yeah.
You could feed the planet on just Zuck's net worth alone.
Hmm.
Like all 7 billion people, you'd be okay. Yet here we are, not okay. That's I don't care whatever side of the political the spectrum you're on. That's something. There's something wrong there. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make this political. I swear, it's not what TT is all about. just saying, like that right there, you could do some major difference in this world. And the lack of accountability on some of these individuals, is that they choose to just keep it to themselves and whatever. And oh, I just donated 500 grand here. Yeah, 500 grand is pocket change, literally, to them, and it's crazy. I don't know. It's really, 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 really weird. You know, I don't even know what to say. Like it's just, and to think that some of them have such bad car taste. But Zuck has better car taste. His taste in cars is actually getting better.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, although
Even
his
though he looks like Jack Harlow now.
bro, right? He's rocking the freaking like little diamond chains and stuff like that. But I have to go ahead and give Zuck credit. I will give Zuck credit. His watch game has been immaculate as of late.
Hmm. You know, my
What
big thing that I've appreciated with him is that he's like one of the people who has stayed committed to their wife that was with them before they became who they were. I had a long conversation about that yesterday, actually, because I was so bothered about Whistling Diesel and how he left his wife
I
for
I
a
had no idea
younger
that even
Russian
happened.
model sort of woman. Yeah, yeah. Josh brought it up to me, and I was like, "Oh, that is disgusting." Because you know, not cool. Love your wives, people. They love you very much.
I love you, Natalie. Um, yeah, that watch. There's gonna be people that are gonna listen to what I just said, and they're gonna go ahead and call me such a cuck. I'm like, all right, cool, bro. I then whatever. I don't even know what to say to that, but um, his yeah, you're right. I'm glad that he's done the same, and I'm glad that they've stayed loyal to one another. It's very hard to do so when you're in that type of realm and whatnot. So, and by the way, I don't know their personal lives, and I don't plan to dig into that. That's not what I plan on doing. But on the surface, it looks that way, and good on them. That's awesome, and you love to see it. But yeah, his car game has really, really kind of elevated a little bit. His watch game has been really, really, brought up. Sonny's watch game has been kind of elevated just a slightly. Can we talk about that a little bit? What do we got tonight? What's on the wrist?
Yeah, you can talk about that. Well, it's like
Okay.
the only cool one that I have currently because I'm not seeking more. So
Are you meaning to
here
tell me
we
that I have a
have,
bigger collection than you do, even though three of my watches are worth $100?
well, that's why. It's because I waited to. So here we have, this is older than me. This is actually older than my parents as well. This is a 70s two-door Rolex Princess Oyster date. We do have the classic Rolex crown and case, but with a Tudor dial. I
Mm-hmm.
actually do need to get the crystal replaced because I smacked it on a chair, and because it is
Oh, this
so
was a you
old,
issue? Nice job.
that was a me issue. Yeah, it didn't come like that. So, oh, there goes my garden system. I have to turn my light up. So,
All good.
ugh, essentially, I smacked it on one of my bar stools, which they are metal on the back. So that was an oopsie.
Mm.
But
What was the reaction when that happened? Was that like, oh, leap?
uh I was
Did
really
it?
tired. It was about
Oh, okay.
5:30 in the morning and I had not slept in like 2 days. So I looked and I went, oh, and that was it.
Shenanigans. Got it. All right, fair
Yeah.
enough. That's totally understandable. Um, yeah, I when you told me about the tutor, I was like, I I, I rock with that. Like that's such a tasteful piece. You know what I'm saying? I feel
Yeah,
like
because
we
it's not flashy. You're not
no.
trying to flex anything. And for me, it's just, I'd reached a goal and I always get myself little trophies for doing so. Which I also got myself a new purse recently. So reaching goals, doing things that I've wanted to do. Um, but when it comes to that, I don't like stuff that's iced out. I don't really necessarily go and buy for the brand. And for me,
Except for Portia.
well, yeah, but that's for their engineering. And then when it comes to this, like it's just, it feels like my personal identity and things that I've experienced, as in, Tudor wasn't the two-door it is today. It was just part of
Is it?
Rolex and everything was kind of Frankenstein together. And then
Yeah.
now they're their own thing. And I feel that I've gone through that trajectory as well.
Hmm. I think they're a great starter watch. I really, really do. And then when you go more vintage, I think that's just a great, unique piece and whatnot because like everybody does want to go with the OGs. They want to go with the Rolex or they want to go with an Omega or they want to go with an AP, um, like an OG AP or something like that, or an OG Patek and whatnot. And like Tudor is a really, really fun way to kind of go ahead and get into that, especially to kind of just see what the envisionment was of them before where they are today and everything. I really think that you got a really unique and cool piece, and I'm really happy for you.
And it's already
Um,
tripled in value, so
well, that's good to know. I mean, if we're tracking it, that's awesome.
I'm not
Um,
selling it ever, but
no,
I look
and
for
you shouldn't
funsies.
for sure, because Josh is he's a watch guy too, right? Not to go ahead and put Josh on
Yes.
blast. Not we don't have to say what he wears, but I know he's an enjoyer of watch. I mean, everybody that comes on this podcast usually is a watch fan. I mean, we're sponsored by a watch company. Again, shout out to Sheffield and shout out to Jay, and everything. So I feel like there's almost like a connection every single time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's love. I don't know what it is. Still don't know what it is. It's something about watches and cars. It just goes together.
PB&J.
It kind of like PB&J. Absolutely. Um, yeah, the other day, shout out to my boy Cooper from New York. He was on the podcast a few months ago and whatnot. He actually got himself like a super dope ass vintage JLC.
Mm.
And it was so sick. And he got it on eBay. I won't say what he got it for, but I can tell you he got it for what I would consider a really good price. That I was like, a vintage JLC has to be a cool piece to go ahead and add to a small collection or a big collection. I don't care. Like that was pretty cool. That was really, really, really dope. And the prices were, I was like, I'm not gonna name it because not even for him, more so because I don't want anybody else to go ahead and all cop them and then all of a sudden have them jump up in price and me not be able to get one. Because maybe the move for me is to just jump on a JLC instead of waiting for my first sub. That's just
I
me.
actually almost bought a JLC myself.
Did you what a JLC
Yeah.
reverso or what? Reversos are cool
Yeah,
because
that was kind of neat.
I like them because I actually, as much as I love a Cartier, Santos, I think they're cooler than Cartier Santos.
I agree.
And I love a Cartier. I love a Cartier tank. It's a tank Francois. Is that what it is? I think, or is it just a Cartier tank? It doesn't matter. I
I
love
was just calling a
Yeah,
tank.
yeah. I just I love Cartiers. I think they're awesome. Santos are cool, but I don't know. There's something about a JLC that's just like a little bit more. Um, what's the word that I'm looking for? A little bit more gentleman-like,
Yeah.
a little bit
It's a little
finer,
classy,
a
more
little
elegant.
classier, a little elegant, a little bit more
Yeah.
elegant, slight. And it's funny because like Cartiers are meant for elegance, but JLC kind of just doesn't like. I don't know. It's just it's there. It's. I want a JLC. I do want a JLC. Maybe I'll just get a JLC and call it a day to go along with my Sheffield, of course. I'll go ahead and rock JLC on the left and Sheffield on the right, and then just swap out with my moon swatch and then my very two cool fossils that mean a lot to me. I always explain to people that I have two fossils and I recognize that that is a very, very inexpensive, no name brand and whatever, but my two fossils mean a ton to me. And that's why they're still with me. So first one my wife gave me on our 1 year wedding anniversary. And then the second one she gave me, her and my sons actually gave me for my 32nd birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. And they engraved on the back, "We love you." So that one
Oh.
stays forever. That one stays forever along with the first fossil. The other ones, if they ever, like I'm starting to go ahead and come up with a couple more watches, and I'm just collecting them. I'm just gonna go ahead and give them to my sons at some point. Like the moon swatch will probably go to one of my sons and whatever, and it's a moon swatch. It lasts forever. and whatnot. But it's yeah, the other ones, uh, probably when I die is when they can have them. Yeah, so it's very interesting. Why have I spoken about ending this podcast and dying so much?
I don't know. It's been really alarming. I don't, the the vibes are problematic.
Are they though? I felt like it's been a good vibe. Am I
No,
bringing down
it's
my
been
own
a good
show?
vibe, but
Okay.
we you know,
I promise you, I'm not on suicide watch. If that's what you're thinking, I'm
okay,
not.
I'm just making sure because
I'm
I
not.
think I have a frequent flyer card with their hotline. So if you say it's me, they might answer faster. So,
I don't know if I could go ahead and get my voice down to your octave to be quite, or up to your octave. Excuse me. That's yeah. I don't know, but eh, no, I promise you, this show won't end. When I say it does, if this show ends, it'll happen because something randomly happened. But yeah. So we were, as we get ready to finish up, because I'm going to go ahead and get us wrapping up here in just a minute. But we did kind of talk about like you're doing something different and things of that nature while still doing art in the background. Now it seems like you're still taking clients, but instead of it, am I? Is it fair to say that you're choosing not to go ahead and do it content wise? You're choosing now to go ahead and do it in the backdrop as you are selling it, and then like just doing it apart. Like, what does that mean for Sunny Dot Drives?
so currently I've just not been posting content because I've been putting hours and hours and actually a lot of money because I was upgrading a bunch of my gear into better content creation and my engagement just wasn't doing well and follower count just kept dropping. And of course, when you are
That's
running a
Instagram wide. That's
business,
not just
that's
you. Yeah.
yeah, and that's marketing. So I always like to allocate my time to whatever is benefiting me most at that time. And as someone who also is in the software space, one thing I've noticed is that sometimes if there is an algorithm causing things like that, tripping it by, for example, getting into a long-term hiatus will actually, and then coming back, will then actually allow whatever is happening that's been driving you nuts to finally stop. So that's what I've been trying to do. And really, the big thing is I will take clients. I always will, but it's more of if I really want to do the work, if I mesh well with the person, because as you know, I had quite an experience with a quite a negative experience with a client for the first time, and that did cause me to need a little bit of a break. So, business will be as usual, but I've just taken a short social media hiatus to try to readjust everything with that because I can't deal with marketing flopping because Instagram is throwing a fit.
I hope that bit that I heard on the other side did not come through the microphones. I really don't. If it did, I sincerely apologize. Did it? Did anything
No,
come
I didn't
through?
hear anything.
All right, cool. We'll keep it that way. We're gonna keep it rolling. That may or may not have been my son, excuse me, screaming at the top of his lungs. I'll have a conversation with them after this podcast. No, I totally get that, and I respect it. Uh, what we do, what you do in particular, I don't even know what if what I do counts as this, but sometimes it takes a lot of brain power. It takes a lot of emotional strength too, because you're having to go ahead and in my particular case, I have to go ahead and make sure everybody feels comfortable, make sure that everybody enjoys the product, make sure everybody's enjoying the conversation. Then that takes a lot. And when we do it a bunch, I'm releasing one episode a week. Sometimes I do multiple podcasts a week, Sonny. I mean, there's been times where I've done 3 interviews in 1 week. There's been 2 interviews in one day, and that means that I'm like 3.5 hours with one individual, 3.5 hours with another set of individuals. Like your social battery gets drained. Um, and in your case, and anybody else who's in your type of game, if you will, artistry, any type of content creation, your brain power tends to go ahead and become mush. and whatnot after a while, and having to go ahead and not only create the concepts of what you want to go ahead and put on paper or put on canvas, but then have to go ahead and come up with the concepts of what you want to go ahead and put on camera or put on photo, video, however you want to do it. It has to be something that you have to have some sort of break in order for you to go ahead and reevaluate how you want to do things all over again and whatnot. And it seems to me that you are in the midst of that, and good on you for recognizing that, because if not, you would have gone ahead and been lying on the floor, looking up at the stars, having your dogs lick you, and you'd be like, go away. And I'm sure that
Hmm.
probably happened to an extent multiple times.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the things that I don't, publicly discuss and never will that I've endured throughout this career, though it's something that I've spent the majority of my life on and something that means the world to me. But some of those things have also torn me apart. And so one thing I always say is a lot of the time when there's been many wonderful experiences, but there also have been negative experiences, and I try to turn those around into positives just to keep the energy going well. But in those moments, it can be very debilitating, and it can be, it's just it's very difficult to watch something that means a lot to you, end up creating situations that you don't even have the mental bandwidth to deal with anymore, right? So, been there, done that, and now I just try to be a bit more reserved, and that's where I was going to. I feel that sometimes because I was trying to, film ahead of time and have things edited and ready to go a lot, I think there were definitely some people who forgot that I am a human being. And yeah, the reality of my life was waking up, not having time to shower every single day, taking my dogs out really quickly, not playing with them, not eating, sitting down, painting, not spending time with my partner, not going out, going to sleep at like 4 in the morning. And that's all day, every day when people throw you on a deadline and forget that one, their life is going to be no different, whether or not there is a painting on their wall. Two, I am a person. And as a human being, I need to be able to do things like eat and sleep and practice hygiene. But there have been a small number of times where I've not been able to do that. And yeah, then I am just laying on the floor and have nothing, there's just no gas left in the tank.
I hear you. I hear you. Um, the practice hygiene really hits strong for 1 second for a variety of different reasons, which I'm not sure I want to disclose on tonight's episode. But maybe if I feel like ate gaff enough, maybe I will. Um, but good on you for recognizing that. And also, I remember the very first time you came on the show. We talked about how your background is software, and then you obviously do this, which is more um analog, physically, painting. Although to be fair to you, you also use a lot more technology these days in order to go ahead and create your paintings, which I really admire, and I think that's super cool, and everything like that. But now I feel like what you're doing more so as your employment is now so tedious and so much more like your typical corporate job. I feel like it almost frees you up to be more mentally and emotionally free to be able to go ahead and do the things that you want to go ahead and do creatively and whatnot. And I think that you have been able to go ahead, even though you've gone so tedious here, it allows you more freedom on this end. Is that something that you have now experienced a little bit more, or is it still something that's kind of coming that you're like, I'm still trying to figure it out?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it feels that I have a bit more mental bandwidth for creativity versus just feeling like I'm exhausted sometimes, which truly, even back to back to back painting days, which I've done for years, I haven't gotten tired of. It is when I've had clients who have mistreated me, to be completely honest, though I likely shouldn't say this. It is that what then sours the whole experience. It's like okay, cool. I've been drinking chocolate milk. This is great. And then you take another sip and it is incredibly spoiled and curdled. That is what it's like. I know that's such an awful, bizarre analogy,
It's not.
but yeah, that's how it is because, when I have clients, for example, like the family that I was out at Road Atlanta with, they're
Hmm.
amazing. They call and check on me. They don't rush me. We've gone through 12 different concepts for their painting and finally decided on one. I'm hyped for it. And, it's the people like that keep me doing this as a business because quite frankly, I don't need to. It's just something I'm passionate about and I'm grateful to share with people. And like I've said before, it is just insanely humbling realizing that there are people throughout the world that have my work in their home. And I've never left that headspace. So when people end up not treating me like somebody who is putting their whole heart into their work, that is when it kind of becomes less enticing for me. So I've been learning that I do need breaks after that because it will affect me for a decent bit of time.
Yeah. Um, do you, where do you find the line of where you like if something goes so far that you say, you know what, I think this is it. Like, do you have you gotten to that point yet? Because like sometimes I think we get that into like I don't know if I've gotten to it here. I haven't, but like there are times where I think to myself, man, sometimes it's just not worth it. Like, where is that fine line for you? Because I think that with what you do, and shout out to Sam Zimmerman who was on the podcast not too long ago, homie of ours, of course. Like, I'm sure she's had the exact same mental strains of people getting into her head of like, yo, you're almost ruining the thing that I love doing. Like, where is that fine line? Where do you say this is where I will not cross? Because you had that client situation, like I'm kind of surprised that you said I'm going to keep going. And I say that with all due respect, of course. But at the same time, if you would have told me, Jorge, I'm out, I'd have been like, you've done well. Cool. Put your
Uh,
put your creativity elsewhere. You know what I'm saying?
it was breach of contract. I would call that a user error, a personal issue, really, because they breached my contract multiple times, and we'll keep it at that. But it is really that kind of mistreatment situation. So I already did have many different clauses within my contract regarding how I am treated, how the timelines are treated. I tried to really ensure that I had quite the safety net to avoid those debilitating situations. So of course it's rare, and this time in which that, it did happen, that was far across the line for me. It got to a point where they had threatened me and I was not okay with continuing conversation and I just wanted to lay in bed for days, but I ended up doing everything I had to do to deal with the situation instead. Um, but it, like, just looking at things in a bigger picture sense or in the grand scheme of things, how funny is it to threaten someone over a painting?
Fucking dumb.
Hmm.
I can go further on a word, but out of respect to the world, I'm not going to do it. It's
Yeah.
bad though.
Yeah. And I put a lot of my heart into that,
Mhm.
which, now it gets to honestly, I really, in the end of it, my headspace was I just don't want this awful, mean person to have something I've put so much love into. That was the big thing for me.
Yeah.
And so, now that it'll get to be enjoyed at the Children's Hospital, that's a much more positive thing for
Oh,
me.
that's cool.
It's
That's really
hopefully
neat.
inspiring future Phoenix car enthusiasts, and that makes me feel a lot better.
No, I think that's so important. And again, during the time where, um, I don't know, car culture seems to be like at a like, I think it's thriving and whatnot. But like, I think that we need to go ahead and continue hard so that way car culture is continued to viewed in the appropriate lane, and whatnot. It's good to go ahead and see that you are a part of that, that you are donating towards that cause. I think that says a lot about you as the enthusiast that you are. And also, as I've always come to admire about you, is coming at it from a different perspective in terms of your art. So I'm glad that you went ahead and did that, and that's very, very cool. And I'm glad that you are choosing not to go ahead and give up on that. So, we're always going to have those individuals who um, make us question what we're doing. In your terms, clients and me, I don't really know what that is, but I do know that it happens to me all the time, just in different scenarios. So I think it's if we continue to rise up and just remember we do it for the love of the game, we'll be okay. We'll be
Hmm.
okay. So, um, I don't know about you. I feel like tonight was a really, really different episode.
It
Um,
was. It was
but
very moody, but not in a negative way. It was a peaceful moody.
there's a peaceful moody, and it's something I'm going to go ahead and appreciate. I think these are the good conversations that should be continued to be had. Because if anything, if I were to go ahead and say anything, if people were to go ahead and come to me, and I say this to people all the time, as my freaking AirPod falls out of my ear. Excuse me. Um, I always tell people that Tormenting Tarmac is one of the greatest sociology experiments that anybody could ever choose to do, and I will maintain that until uh, until forever, and it's the truth. And whatnot. I I didn't I didn't get a chance to have you on the road to 150. We our schedules got mixed up and everything like that. So I'm really happy that you chose to come on now and everything. But on the road to 150, I was asking several people who came on, Sunny, what TT meant to them. And now you've been on TT for several times now. This is your fourth time being on the show. You're familiar with the format. You support the format. I'm very grateful for you doing that and whatnot. So I don't know. I haven't asked this in a couple of episodes, but I'll ask you: what has Tormenting Tarmac meant to you over these last couple of years?
It felt like my first real debut as myself. You know, back then you were the only person who was willing to, like have me on anything or try to hear me out based on whatever on earth was going on at the time. And man, that meant so much to me. And it just, it felt so good to just show up and be myself. And that's what was there. It wasn't scripted. We had fun.
Definitely wasn't scripted. Definitely wasn't
No.
scripted.
And
Should we say not to interrupt you? It's just that this still makes me laugh to this day. Um, we posted our Zoom video a lot later after the podcast went live, and there was something that you were doing in the podcast which makes me laugh to this day. And you being the professional that you are, I didn't notice while we were recording until you went ahead and told me days afterwards, and I was like, I had no idea. And I'm pretty sure you were vaping the entire time. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I couldn't tell. All I could because I would just you'd just be like this. And I'm like, oh, she's in pensive
she's so
thought.
shy. I was
No, yeah,
like,
she's just vaping.
yeah, I've been staring at it this whole time because I knew I was being filmed this time.
Not to call you out. Good on you, by the way. Respect. I feel like as your friend, I should go ahead and end it soon. I'm kidding.
No, it's
Kidding.
okay. I will not use it and forget about it for half a day, but it is banana flavored, so
Yeah, shout out to Minions. You were saying though.
but yeah, like it just felt like this was the first opportunity publicly that I actually had to be myself without judgment. And, I was in my old apartment and I, I remember afterwards when you told me it was actually performing well.
True
And
story.
yeah, like I don't cry that much, but I did actually cry a little bit because, well, you know what kind of adversity I'd been facing at the time. So people wanting to see me and taking that well meant a lot. And, it feels like TT is like the one thing that has really carried the whole trajectory of the past few years. And you kind of check on me like, like every, I don't know, like 6 to 8 months on here, and there's always like some big new thing. And it feels like as I'll go back over the years, depending on how long you decide to keep me around, it's,
Depends on how
yeah, I get
long
to see a
Phoenix
lot
decides to
of,
keep TT around. By the yeah,
I get to see a lot of how I've progressed, which I don't see that and remember that on a day-to-day basis, and I don't give myself much pride or anything. So, yeah, really, really long, blabby answer to that.
well, if you can view Tormenting Tarmac as a way to go back and to remember the things that you've been able to go ahead and pull off because we gave you the platform for it, I view that as a success. So that is extremely humbling that you can use my platform to remind yourself of how cool you are. So
You got to show other people that I'm cool and nobody else would. So,
well, if there's anything, Jorge Aquino might not be cool, but he knows people who are, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? And I'll take that.
nah, man, you're cool. Don't. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's like I'm unk status now, dog. Like I don't know how cool that is.
I
Um,
embroider my own pillows. I think I'm like actually a grandmother, so I might not actually be that cool either.
Fair enough. I still think
Mm.
that's good. I mean, being able to embroider is actually a very cool thing to do. So I might disagree with you, to be quite honest with you, but it's been a treat, dude. I appreciate you taking the time as always. Thank you so much for wanting to go ahead and stop by virtually, and hanging out and just talking shop and using your new producer school skills that you can now have. I think it's awesome. Um, and just keep up the great work with everything that you're doing. I hope you have a very safe flight tomorrow. And I hope that you take my advice and just decide on a whim to go out to car week. I do. I'm
Yeah,
calling
we'll
you out.
see. It's me lately, so maybe I will.
Maybe you should,
I've
just
been
bring.
pulling a Colby for a while, so I know
Hey,
she'll appreciate that.
hi, Colbs. Hi.
Mm.
Um, it's that's too funny. Well, if even though she's not posting too much content on there right now, if you wanted to go ahead and check out Sunny Drives, that is of course the IG handle and the YouTube channel, both right, same
Oh,
name.
and turn on notifications because there's going to be like actually a lot coming in, and you can find out from here because you won't find out anywhere else. This is the first place you're realizing that I will be back.
This is true. I'd love to see it. Andy Mineo says coming in hot. So that's good stuff right there. And then for anybody else who is listening and or watching, of course, you can go ahead and find us on Tormenting Tarmac on Instagram. And then you can go ahead and find us streaming on any one of your streaming subscribers, Spotify, Apple, all those good places. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. It really, really helps. Leave a comment. Oh, that'd be so cool. People just leave comments. If you tell me that I'm dumb, leave it. If you think that I'm the absolute ish, leave it. If you think Sunny looks like Kim Possible, leave it. Um, it really that supposedly helps out. I so please go ahead and do that. And then of course you can go ahead and find us on YouTube as well. I think we're gonna go ahead and post this one on YouTube tonight if that's okay.
Yeah.
With Sunny. So we'll that way I don't look like I'm in 480p and in the Stone Age anymore because I can go I'm using my phone properly. Yay. Um but that all being said, um anything else we need to go ahead and chat about before we go ahead and wrap it on up?
Now I can smell the dinner Josh ordered. I'm
Oh, nice.
hungry.
I'm starving too. There's some dinner out there waiting for me right now, so I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. But that being said, that is Sunny Combs. And shout out to her pops, Kevin, and shout out to Josh, and shout out to Chewy and Louie. Um, and of course, my name is Papa Tarmac, aka Jorge Eduardo Aquino Rodriguez. You have all been listening to the 154th installment of Tormenting Tarmac, the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Peace up, A Town down, right here from the west side of the PHX. We're in Bird City. Good night, everybody.